Hi, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles. Today I'm out and about and I'm taking my 1250 GS in for a service at Alan Jefferies in Rotherham, and I'm going to be riding something slightly different. Today I'll be on the BMW G310GS as a courtesy bike just while mine's being serviced. So I'm going to head out into the Yorkshire countryside, do a few little lanes, go through some villages, maybe even try a bit of motorway on my way back, and see what I think of BMW's baby GS. Quite looking forward to it. I've seen lots of mixed things on the internet. You know, when I first saw it coming out, I thought that looked quite interesting. A lot of people have been less than complimentary, but it depends what you're comparing it to. It's definitely no 1250. So yeah, looking forward to this. This should be interesting. So here we go. So this is my review of the BMW G310GS. So this is a single cylinder baby version of the GS. My 1250 is in for a service, so I thought I would give it a go. So yeah, let's see what it can do. So it does feel very, very tiny, and those front brakes compared to the GS do very little. Yeah, so that's going to take some getting used to. Now I know this bike is built to a budget, and I'm not expecting it to be the same as my 1250. But yeah, I'd ridden I think everything else that BMW have to offer, so I thought it would be a nice thing to try. So there have been a lot of suggestions that this is, you know, a baby GS. So first impressions, I've literally just ridden it out of the dealership and down onto the main road. I mean, it's certainly made by BMW. It doesn't really feel anything like my 1250. I don't know if I really expected it would. The engine certainly seems to be very revvy, the steering is very light. I feel like I'm sitting on top of it rather than almost inside it, as you would on a GS. It's no bad thing, especially when I'm pottering around town like this. Be interested to see how it handles once we get out onto some more interesting roads. So actually, you know, that bit of throttle going uphill, that was third gear pulling away from a roundabout on a fairly steep hill, and actually, especially towards the upper end of the range, there is a bit of a snarl to it. I mean, it's more of an angry puppy than an actual snarl, but compared to the Fantic 250 that I rode a few weeks ago, this certainly feels like it's got much longer legs. Now it is a bigger engine, it's a 310 instead of a 250, but even still, it just feels much better put together. I mean, it is a much heavier bike, of course, as well. I think the Fantic was coming in somewhere just over 100 kilos, and I'll check exactly how much this weighs when I get back. So this is the roll-on in second, which is, you know, from an easy crawl in traffic to being able to filter past things, and it's still got plenty of legs. You know, there's really no problems there at all. I think you'd certainly ride this around a town, no bother at all. You know, even certainly have the ability to overtake as and when you needed. And to anyone that's ridden a 250, I don't mean a full-on enduro 250, I mean a road-going 250 like the Honda CRF, I think you'd find this to be quite a step up in terms of power. And actually that low-end chug from 10 miles an hour definitely has got that sort of, you know, big, well, medium-sized single feel about it. You know, it doesn't feel like it's ever going to stall on you. It's just plodding away underneath there, which is quite reassuring. And now we can have a proper go. So yeah, so I've just ridden out from Alan Jefferies in Rotherham. I've come out into the countryside, had a bit of a mix of small town driving, mostly small B roads, a few A roads where I could stretch its legs a little bit, and yeah, I've been quite impressed. It's definitely got more poke than some of the 250s that I've ridden, things like Honda's CRF 250, which, you know, is definitely more of a dual sport, definitely more off-road, but also does feel underpowered on the road. I mean, I think this was quite happy cruising at 50, sort of halfway up the rev range. It would certainly hit 60 or 70 without too much bother. It would certainly pull uphill in third. So yeah, I think it's quite a different proposition. It's definitely one step closer to road than the CRF 250L and the equivalents. Having said that, I'm not going to have an opportunity to try out its off-road capabilities or its dual sport capabilities. But yeah, just to ride out for an hour and a half, so far I've been really impressed. So the quality of the finish on the bike is really good, I think. It's got very similar switch gear, mirrors, even the indicators look like my old GS a little bit. I'm sure everything is made to a price, but at the same time it does feel very well put together. I think the forks look better than they feel. They certainly look high quality. They've got that gold finish on them, like a certain other brand. I did find them quite soft for me. I think that I know that Rally Raid do an upgrade, so if this was something I was thinking about getting as a dual sport bike, then I think I would definitely have to do something about the front end. And this isn't just on the brakes, this is even coming off the throttle. I did find that it rocked down a lot at the front. The rear didn't have a great amount of feel, but perfectly fine for where I was riding. The engine had more poke than I thought it would. I thought that was quite handy. The instruments are very clear. It's a digital dash, again built to a price, doesn't have any moving dials, there's no TFT, nothing fancy, but then again I don't think it needs to. You know, it is just there to give you the information, which it does very well, very clearly, and yeah, it was a pleasure to use. So I think this G310GS is actually quite a fun bike to ride. It's definitely not a GS, you know, it doesn't feel anything at all like my 1250, but just as, you know, a fun bike to go and have a potter out on. I think it's great. I think anyone who's given them a hard time on the internet should go and take a test ride. You might be pleasantly surprised. I mean, it's not trying to be, and it never is going to be, you know, a 1250 GS or any of those sort of, you know, litre plus adventure bikes. It really isn't. But then again, it costs a fraction of what they cost, and yeah, the markets that it's designed for is where, I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily cheap, but certainly cheap and cheerful is where they're aiming for. So, you know, for that, it's certainly at the more premium end. You know, all the features on the dash, the controls are all high quality plastics. They all look quite good. The screen on the front doesn't do a huge amount, but then again, today it's 25 degrees in the UK and I'm wearing a mesh jacket, and actually I'm quite enjoying the breeze, to be honest. You know, if you're pottering around roads like these, I think it's perfect. You know, there's going to be no crazy overtaking, but you know, that's there's bikes for that and there's places for that. But just to be able to go out and have a ride, you know, maybe as a commuter, maybe just as a, you know, a second bike if you're needing to do some town miles or something, then yeah, I think it's quite good. In fact, I'd go better than that. I would say it's cracking. So that's it. That's me just coming up to the end of my ride. Yeah, overall quite impressed. I would say that the seat is moderately comfortable. I didn't even notice it at all on the way out, which is probably a good thing. I certainly did notice it on the way back. So just about now I can feel that my rear can tell it's been sitting on a bike for a bit. No bad thing really, given that I've been out for about an hour and a half. But yeah, certainly something, you know, if you're looking to do longer distances on this, and I'm guessing you probably wouldn't, then yeah, I'd probably see how the seat shapes up. It's certainly more comfortable than some of the enduro seats and things that you get, and the fact I can ride for an hour and a half without really noticing is definitely a positive.